Welcome back to episode 6 already of Sweat, Sauna and Stories, and I'm joined by a phenomenal guest today, a great man, James Sutton, aka John Paul from Hollyoaks. He's also been on Emmerdale, Holby City, Casualty, you name it, he's been on it. But you know what, more importantly, he's a phenomenal bloke. He's had his own struggles and turmoils, which we're going to get deep on today. We're going to go in there and have a bit of a pump because he likes his weights. Although I like to run and do fitness, he likes to do weights. I'm sure he's going to show me up in there. And then we're going to head up to the sauna. We're going to get deep. Hear all about his struggles. Hear all about his passion now for male mental health and all the things that he's doing to really encourage men to open up, just like our mission and his man club. Let's go. We're back. We've just done a pump. We're back for the sauna side of this podcast. So James, if you'd like to do the honours.
It'd be my pleasure.
You all know I love this sound.
Right, let's get sweaty.
Oh. And on that note, we'll lock it in. So we're locked in. It's heating up fast. Tell everyone who you are.
I'm James Sutton. I'm best known for playing John Paul McQueen on Channel 4's Hollyoaks. I started that about 16 years ago. I've done Emmerdale, I've done lots of theatre, I've done lots of TV, I've done presenting work. I do a lot with Liverpool Football Club. I do various podcasts. I recently launched my own podcast, Male Mind Matters, which is very in keeping with the work that you do with Andy's Man Club in terms of getting men to speak. That's my sort of biggest goal, is sort of having open and honest conversations with men and giving them permission ultimately to talk about difficult things.
Running a podcast in a sauna, as it's difficult is, so we often have to change the mic or the mics go off. So acting fascinates me, and we spoke about that a little bit earlier. But I wish we'd have had these mics, or maybe not, because they're a bit shit. But I wish we'd have had the mics there then, because I find it fascinating. But how do you even get into acting? That's something that I don't even know. I don't know if anyone knows how you get into acting. I know like people have come on here and they get into fitness or they get into sport. I don't know. We'll get into that in a bit. But how do you get into acting?
I think ultimately, I think it's like anything. I think if it's a vocation. You have to really, really want to be an actor. It can't be something that you just do as a hobby.
Technological problems. I see how it goes out here. So guys, we're going to start this again. We might have had a double intro. Basically, we've had technological problems. I don't want even proper English. Technology problems. We're bringing our microphones into the sauna, repeated use. So we've still gone with a sweat. We've still had a pump. We've still had a sauna, and now we're going to start this whole thing again by saying, introduce you to my friend, James. James, tell everyone a little bit about who you are.
Thank you. I'm James Sutton. I am an actor, best known for Hollyoaks. Been on the show for probably about 15, 16 years. Done a couple of years on Emmerdale, done lots of theatre and dramas and TV. I do some presenting work. I do things with Liverpool Football Club, a lot around football. I appear on podcasts like this. I've got my own podcast that I set up recently, which is kind of my sort of main focus at the moment, called Male Mind Matters. All about, I mean, you've been on it yourself. Me sitting down with fascinating fellas, getting to know their story, but more importantly, hearing about their healthy practices and the journey that they've been on and the things that they've overcome. In a world where men don't have permission to have these difficult conversations, I feel like podcasts like mine perhaps go some way to give back that permission, to make men feel like it's okay to talk about things that are difficult, things that are, troublesome or trauma-filled. Similar to the work that you do with Andy's Man Club, I think. It's about giving men that permission that actually it's okay to talk. Like, the world's not going to implode in on itself if we have a deep and meaningful conversation about important issues.
And something that fascinates me, we touched on it earlier when we had a chat, with a coffee, acting. I find it fascinating because I've had sports people in here, I've had Thai boxers, I've got mates who've done all sorts, but never anyone who was acting professionally for a career. And it's one of them, like, when I played rugby, Dad got me into it 8 years old. You go kick a rugby ball about. I was a big fat kid, so no one could tackle me. And then continued to be a big fat kid, and then I became a big fat teenager, and now I'm a big fat man. But acting, I guess it's not something you just did. Well, you tell me, did your parents get you into it? How do you become an actor?
I mean, ultimately it's a vocation. It's something that you've got to dedicate your life to. It's something that you've got to be prepared to make sacrifices for. It's not something that comes easy. Having a successful... Anyone can be an actor. Anyone. You can wake up one day and go, right, I'm an actor now. to be a successful actor, to be a working actor, to be an actor that doesn't have to get a quote-unquote normal job, that requires sacrifice, commitment, training, learning. I spend a lot of my time going to the theatre, reading plays, going to acting classes. You know, you have to think of it like being a professional sportsman. It's very, very similar. You know, if you're a professional swimmer, if you're an Olympic swimmer, for example, you don't wake up one day and go, right, that's the fastest I'm ever going to swim. You get in that pool every single day and you try and shave a few milliseconds off your time. And it's the same for being an actor. What can I do today that's going to make me a better performer? Is it work on myself? Is it work on my craft? Is it look at some scripts? Is it study other people's work? It's all these things that kind of come into play. And I was I was quite an annoying child. I had a lot of energy. And we had the 6-week holidays when we were at school. And my mum, bless her, she was on her own for a couple of years with me and my brother. Didn't know what the fuck to do with me. Was like, what am I going to do with this child for 6 weeks? She was like, I know, I'll send him to the theatre. So there was like a summer school at the theatre, so she sent me along to that. And we did musicals every year. And I remember standing on stage and people were listening. And then when I finished, people would clap. And I was like, quite like this. Quite like this immediate feedback loop that I get from being on stage. And then I just carried it on. And it's all I've ever done. It's all I've ever wanted to do. Obviously now I've branched out into podcasting and presenting. And I'm a panellist on a couple of TV shows and stuff. But ultimately, I'm an actor. That's what I'm trained in. That's what I'm passionate about.
You know, I'd honestly didn't expect. It's just like getting in a football rugby, innit? There's a kid sat at home, doing the parents' head in. Off you go. Yeah. Football camp, rugby camp. Yeah. Let's go to theatre camp. I've never even heard it. Never even thought about it. My kids go to drama and acting school. They love it, singing, dancing, and my little daughter probably has. My other kids are really fitness focused, running. The littlest one is a bit like what you said. She's out there. Yeah. She's I don't know what the word would be.
Well, there might come a time when she's say 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, when she'll have a realisation. She'll either want to take it seriously and carry on and maybe go to a drama school or study it for, you know, a BTEC or whatever it is, or she'll go, actually, that was good fun and it helped with my confidence skills and it helped with my teamwork and it helped with my sense of imagination and play, but actually I don't want to take it any further. But she probably will at some point have that kind of internal conversation. Yeah,
and I love that because I think it's definitely a good skill set to have in it, because we all play different characters in life. And I think I want to touch on some of your work still, on what would be some, you know, and I don't know if you have this in acting, like highs and lows. I imagine you do. I imagine you've had some crushing defeats and been killed off on some programmes that you didn't want to, or, yeah, you know, rugby, in my world, you know, you win a final, but then you have to get let go, or you break your leg. What are some ups and downs in that sort of career?
I think it's every day. I think it's different to the difference between being an actor and a sportsman. If you're a sportsman, I mean, I'm very lucky. I have a long-term contract on a TV show. I'm on Hollyoaks, so actually that side of it's taken care of. But for the majority of actors, every single day or every single week, you're auditioning. You are going in front of a casting director, a producer, a director, whoever, and you are giving your interpretation of a script. So it would be similar to every day as a rugby player. You would be going to see a new manager of a new team or whatever, and he'd be going, right, show me what you've got. And you'd have to, you know, run 20 yards and smash through some people, or how good's your heart rate, how good are you, you know, various fitness things. It's proving yourself every single day. And the reality of it is 99% of those auditions you're not going to get. Like, we don't get 99% of the jobs. So it's having that resilience and it's having that strength of character to treat it like a job. So it's not an audition in the sense of my whole life hinges on whether I get this job or not. My job is to read the text, learn the text, think about character, think about situation, put some thought into it, maybe do something a little bit different that the casting director hasn't seen before, but ultimately give my interpretation of the text. As soon as I leave that room and I walk out, that's my job done. I can't think about that job anymore because it's out of my control. So you have to kind of train your brain to not take it personally if you don't get the job, which is a really difficult thing, a really complicated thing, when you're putting your heart and soul and it's your interpretation of a text. You feel very vulnerable because this is how I think this character should be played. So to put your heart and soul into it and then be told, actually, no, you didn't get the job, that can be quite crushing, especially if you're right for it. But you have to be resolute and you have to be fully focused on the fact that it's part of the job.
think it's really interesting that, because I work in a lot of schools, and I just had a chat with, and not even just schools, but there's a big issue now with people feeling like they're judged all the time and having this pressure to impress. But that job, you're giving people permission to say, this is who I am, judge me whether you like me or not. And ultimately, that can be crushing because you are giving your all. So how do you overcome that when that happens, or how have you? Because I imagine there'll be people listening at home who've got a teenager now who's struggling with their identity, who they are, their mental health, their sexuality, or whatever it may be, who can't come out and accept how everyone would judge them, or if people judge them as a failure or they don't like them. So I think that's a really interesting point to pick on about how you actually deal with that, because there'll be loads of people thinking, I struggle every day going to work and feeling imposter syndrome or whatever, where your job, you're saying, here I am, judge me, like it or lump it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the reality of the industry, and I think it's difficult for some people to kind of come to terms with. I went to drama school, which gave me the training to deal with this kind of thing. So I trained in a classical drama school in Cardiff, and they taught us all about rejection, all about being told no, all about being made to feel like you are not good enough for this job. However, it's like in any walk of life. Did I do my best? Yes, I did. Did I give a good account of myself? Yeah, I think I did. Can I go home satisfied with the work that I've done? Because ultimately, that's what it comes down to. You know, whether somebody likes me or not, whether somebody thinks I'm a good actor or not, it's kind of not my concern. I don't really care. You know, all that matters is that I'm doing my best, and I can go home happy, and I can get into bed at night and think, yeah, I smashed that today. If I get the job at the end of it, that's a bonus. That's a bonus. Oh my God, amazing. Somebody else thinks that I'm good at this. That's amazing. But you can't let your success, and you can't let your mental health, and you can't let your clarity of thought depend on somebody else, external factors. It's got to come from in here. And that's what I think people struggle with in acting, and that's what I think people struggle with in the wider world, is being comfortable in your own skin, working hard, being a good person, you know, and trying to have some fun with it. You know, we're here for a good time, not a long time.
100%. You know, I couldn't agree more. Everything we do in schools is all around authenticity.
Yeah, authenticity.
And the brand is be you. And the idea is that we're living in a world now where, I don't say we're encouraged, but I don't think people are comfortable enough to be self-confident themselves in how they look, in how they act. And that's a message we really try to push, that empowerment. So I'm glad that you're speaking out about this, especially someone who's been ultra successful. And I think what's interesting, we've talked about the potential laws of an actor, but you must have had some mad successes as well. You've been on Hollyoaks for how long? Have you been on Hollyoaks for?
Yeah, on and off for 15 years.
15 years, Emmerdale. So tell us some of the real highs of that journey.
Oh my God, I've done some things where I've kind of had to pinch myself and think, I can't believe I'm getting paid for this. Like, they're those moments where you're like, this is unbelievable. I got flown to Bulgaria to play a Roman general, riding horses, wielding swords, having sword. I got taught by a professional sword handler how to do all the dagger and rapier stuff. I mean, unbelievable. I went to New York. I took a play to New York for 3 months. Lived in Brooklyn. Used to get up every morning and run along the Brooklyn Bridge, and see the Manhattan skyline. And we'd come out of the theatre at night, tiny little theatre, just off Broadway. And obviously a theatre's got no windows; it's completely dark. So you have no idea of, you sort of forget what's outside the theatre. You're in this little box, and then we'd come out afterwards, and you'd open the doors, and Manhattan, New York is just there, and we'd go down to the river, and we'd get on this little boat, the cast, and it had a little bar on top, and we'd buy a beer, and we'd all sit on this boat as it slowly pulled away from Manhattan, going back to Brooklyn. And I just remember sitting there thinking, if I could have told 15-year-old James that he would not only be paid to be an actor and be able to call that legitimately his profession, but he would be flown to New York to act, I'd have thought you were crazy. It's amazing. It's amazing. You've got to dream big dreams. You've got to back yourself. You've got to work hard, but there's opportunities out there. And the people that are successful, it seems to me, are the people who go out and do it. There's so many people who have big dreams and want to achieve things and want to, you know, especially in acting world or the sports world, like, oh, I want to do that. Well, go and do it then. Go and knock on those doors. Find out what it is that you need to do to go and achieve those things. I remember when I must have been 14. I remember I was about to do my GCSEs, or I was starting to, you know, revise. And I remember I wrote on a piece of paper, and I wrote, because I couldn't get motivated, because I don't give a shit about RE or, you know, geography. I don't care about that. And I remember I got a piece of paper and I wrote GCSEs, A-levels, drama school, professional actor. And now I'm sat in a sauna with you. Yes. So I should have written Luke at the bottom.
Mate, I love that. And do you know, because we've spoke a bit, I still don't know your full story, but what I do know is we've painted a real good picture of the highs and lows of acting. And I imagine at that time, life's probably good, everyone has an expectation of what you're like, but life hasn't always been rosy, has it? And it's been really inspirational for me to hear your journey, and I could feel the feeling of what that feeling were like on that boat looking over Manhattan. I could visualise it. You know, I've had similar stuff in my speaking career where you're pinching yourself going, how am I, a normal bloke, sat here or there, this isn't right. So, but I know it also has come with its hardships, hasn't it? And anyone who's involved with mental health are in it for a reason. So you do your podcast. The goal is to help men have a space, but why?
Yeah, it's a good question, because speaking and being open and honest about my journey has changed my life. Having conversations with other men, getting a therapist, having really open, quite vulnerable conversations with a therapist, but also having conversations with myself and asking myself tough questions. You know, I mean, I've had panic attacks in my life. I've suffered with quite severe anxiety at points. I've self-medicated with drugs and alcohol, and got myself into a bit of a pickle, really, truth be told. And I'm still, even now, trying to kind of get over those years, because although those years were chaos, I mean, they were absolute chaos. Quite how I held down a full-time job and an acting career is beyond me. I must be a very, very talented actor.
I was going to say, I
assure you I'm not. But now I find myself in quite a strange situation, in that I put a lot of pressure on myself. And because I feel like I wasted my 30s, especially my 30s, those years when I think you should be growing up and you should be taking not just life seriously, but yourself seriously, I don't think I did. In fact, I know I didn't. So now I feel like I'm behind where I should be. And I'm constantly, even now, even doing this podcast, I am in such a rush to get wherever it is I'm supposed to be going and to find peace. I haven't got peace yet. I don't have emotional peace. I don't have physical peace. I don't have spiritual peace. I'm not there. I'm a work in progress. But I'm doing everything I can every single day to get where I want to be. I just need to stop putting so much goddamn pressure on myself and try and enjoy the ride a little bit more. That's one of the things that I spoke in depth with my therapist about. Because when you are in the depths of anxiety and drug abuse, alcoholism, any of those things, you know, I've been a bad friend, a bad husband, a bad colleague, I hold my hands up to these things. When you're in that, you're not really having any fun. You're not present in the moment and enjoying what you're doing. And I'm trying to make a conscious effort every day to enjoy what I'm doing, to try and take stock, to go, oh my God, I was thinking it today when I was driving in. I was thinking, man, what an amazing thing to get to drive to Halifax and spend the afternoon with you. Like, what a cool thing that is to do. Like, you know, that's a real, you know, that's a really wonderful thing, an opportunity that I've been given, you know? And so I'm trying to take stock, and I'm trying to enjoy the moments more, and I'm trying to enjoy the ride rather than focus on the destination.
Mate, I love that. Absolutely love that. And I think you said all sorts of nuggets in there, mate, that mine's just going.
Pick that apart.
Because I think a lot of the problems you've got are societal problems that I had. drugs and drink and medicating, because it's very normal, isn't it now? It's so normal. How did you overcome that? Like, how did you get to a point where you went, I always think there's a defining moment for everyone. You know, I hit my rock bottom, I know other guests and other people I work with, thousands of people, and everyone has that rock bottom moment that I can't keep doing this. Either I'm ruining my life, I'm ruining those lives around me, I have to make a change. And I think, or my opinion is, too often we're looking for an outside saviour rather than the saviour is always inside, whether that's you do go to a religious institute, or you go to an Andy's Man Club, or you go to your doctor, or you reach out to work. It's you who's got to do that. What were your moment of, fuck it, like, James, look yourself in the mirror, sort yourself out, and then how did you do that?
I think, yes, yeah, okay, the short answer is yes, I did have a moment. The long answer is, it was a long process. It was a lot of moments of looking in the mirror and going, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you still up at 3 o'clock in the morning on your own, making bad decisions? Why are you doing that? And then doing the same thing again a few days later or a week later. I think the breakdown of my marriage was kind of the big catalyst, because that came after COVID, and I blamed my ex-wife, I blamed COVID, I blamed lockdown, I blamed all of these things. The reality was, it was me. It was me. I was a selfish, thoughtless husband, and not someone that I was proud to be. And so I started to make some changes. The biggest thing for me was getting into fitness, being made accountable, holding myself accountable. If I go to the gym and I work really, really hard in the gym, I'm not going to go home and drink or take drugs. I'm not going to do that, because I'm going to undo all the hard work that I've done. And I was working so hard in the gym. I hit it with, I went two-footed tackle. I went straight in. I was deadlifting and bench pressing, and you know what I mean? I was like, no, I'm going to do this, because I'd always kind of turn my nose up at people who were into fitness. And I always thought, like, fuck, what are you doing that for? Like, no one cares, how you look. And then when I started getting into it, I was like, it's not about how I look. Yeah, there's a nice benefit that I might have, a few more muscles, but the clarity that I have for that hour and a half in the gym, where I don't think about me, I don't think about my problems. It's like you in the sauna. I just have this really kind of hypnotic, therapeutic, almost meditative state. That just changed my life, because I was like, right, now I've got an anchor. I've got something that I can pin my day onto. And even if I achieve nothing else during that day, even if I go to the gym and the rest of the day I do nothing, I've achieved that. I did that. And that sense of pride that I got from that, and that sense of being accountable, the best drug in the world is starting to take care of yourself and starting to feel proud of yourself. Pride is a really intoxicating thing. I think especially British people, we don't like to seem arrogant. We hate arrogance. And there's a difference between being proud of oneself and being arrogant. I'm proud as fuck of the journey that I've been on, and the care that I treat myself with, and the work that I do in the gym, and the work that I do with men and with podcasts, and all these suddenly feel like the world has just opened up in front of me, rather than it just being this big. Yes. That is priceless.
Powerful, man. And speaking of power, we did a little bit of a gym session down at One Vigor today, bit of a pump. Anyone knows, by probably looking, I don't like to do weights. I'm a fat endurance athlete, and I'm a big endurance athlete, and I need to start doing more weights. So I played rugby, did a lot of weights. Body a little bit different to this now. We've got some work, so we're in Mission Possible mode. We're dancing, but we jumped on bench press today, and you brought out the 15-year-old Luke in me who used to love doing bench press, not really doing much, and you fucking annihilated me, didn't you? And I could see after, just how much weightlifting is that piece for you? Because a minute ago you said you never have peace, but I could just see when we're in that space, and I saw you walk in, you went, this smells like a proper fucking gym. This is a proper gym, right? And I could see that piece, and I think what's probably nice for you is like we've come here, we've done sauna, we've lifted. These are all real thriving mechanisms. I hate coping strategies. I hate that word coping because I don't believe that people should aim to cope in life and get by. Let's thrive. Let's push it. And you won't always be there. There's no point having pressure to be the best all the time. Take a bit of pressure off yourself, But actually having these thriving strategies where you can go eat sauna, you can go lift, you can go run. I were out running this morning with some mates and fucking suffered. First run back for a while on this plan and I fucking suffered. But I think there's something in that suffering as well, and overcoming. And you probably get that in gym, don't you?
Yeah, massively.
You know, that same thing of overcoming. So I guess the next thing for me is other than, say, fitness, what other stuff are you doing to work on you? You know?
I'm a work in progress, mate. Every day I'm trying to do better. I've started journaling properly, which I've never really done before. I bought myself a beautiful new journal. I actually bought my dad one as well. Me and my dad have both got the same journal, which I've started to write in. So I'm going to make that part of my habit. I want to get back into meditation because I started doing it for a while and I started to make some headway with it, and then it kind of fell off a little bit. So I want to start doing that again. I've stopped drinking. I've stopped for dry January, but I think I'm going to keep it going. I'm going to try my best. Yes. I'm not actually struggling. I thought I'd be really struggling this January. I'm absolutely fine. I'm cool. So I really want to keep that going because everybody that I know, I don't want this to become an anti-alcohol, rant, but everybody that I know that is teetotal is calm, productive, successful, and ambitious. All of them. Everyone I know who is really successful actors, writers, producers, sportsmen, none of them drink. So, why do it to myself? Aside from anything else, I fucking drank it all. Yes. There's none left. Do you know what I mean? I told you, my 30s, I drank it all. I dived right in and drank my way to the surface. So I'm doing that. So I'm off the booze. I'm still in the gym. I want to drop a little bit of size. I'm writing, which I love. I love writing. I really want to get something else off the ground. We did a sitcom a few years ago, me and my writing partner, and I really want to push that this year as well. Just pushing the podcast because I'm learning so much from sitting down with men. Like I'm learning so much about myself, about the world, about their practices, their healthy behaviours, the journeys they've been on, and going, oh yeah, I do that, or I did that. Oh, that works for you. Maybe that'll work for me. So the process of doing this podcast has just been, it's been really enlightening, and I want to push that as far as I can.
Mate, I love that because I keep seeing videos now of people berating like the CEO routine, get up and do this, and I see all sorts of stuff about that. But you said something there that people probably don't understand. It's like find what works for you. So I've been into Buddhism a long time, and it's flickered in and out of my life. I got brought up a Catholic, not massively religious now, but Buddhism is just something that I've tinkered with. So this year, one of my little challenges I wrote down was to meditate more. It's really weird this year, Bryce. So every night now, just 5 minutes to start with. I've got a very hectic life and a very busy brain that's constantly. So it's taking that 5 minutes before bed. It's helping me sleep better. But I also journal before bed every night. I review what could have improved today, what went well today. I write a conclusion of my day. Then I always write tomorrow's goals that day. So I've already got it in made. And I rate my day out of 10. And what I like to do is track back, because if I've had a 9 out of 10 day today and a 6 out of 10 day, 6 out of 10 today and 9 before, what difference did I do? Work the way or time I spent with my kids, or how much time I had in sauna or going for weights. So it's finding what works for you, and not everything will. There were big craze at one point about ice baths. I think everyone was getting up and doing them in the morning. And for some people that worked. And it's finding what works for you so you can find who you are, I think.
Well, there's a trend that's grown and developed over the past couple of years, which is, especially on social media, on platforms like TikTok, which is men telling you that you need to get up at 5 a.m, you need to jump in an ice bath, you have to go for a run, you have to do this, you have to do that, and it's too much. And the ordinary person, an ordinary lad who's maybe struggling with his mental health, feeling a bit lonely, feeling down, feeling depressed, career isn't going how he thinks. is seeing this, is being battered with this information, and is thinking, right, I need to do all of these things, and that's going to fix my life. It's not going to fix your life. Ice baths aren't going to fix your life. Saunas aren't going to fix your life. It's up here and it's in here. It's absolutely what you just said. It's what works for you. If what works for you is going for a walk every morning, or going for a walk in the evening, or I don't know, whatever it is, whatever, sitting in a hot bath, find the thing that gives you joy and peace, and go, right, that's good. What else? Find something else, and then eventually you piece together. I think as you get older, you piece together this beautiful jigsaw that is made up of things that benefit you, and then you start losing the things that don't benefit you, and then before you know it, like me, my routine isn't set in stone. I don't get up an ice bath and all that, I go to the gym and I do a bit of journaling, and I make sure I speak to a friend or my mum or whatever every day. That's basically all I need to do. I don't need to get up at 5 a.m. and jump in a nice bath and go for a run, and I don't need to do that and listen to a really intense podcast. I don't need to do that. Find your thing.
Interesting, and that's what we're getting at about berating, because I think instead of someone saying like that there, for someone, get up at 5 a.m, go for a run, that's their thing, it's cool. But like you said, for one of them people, the run bit might be just enough. Going out for a walk in the morning before you set your day. So that person was sat at home going, I don't need to do all 10 things now. Maybe I need to get to a point where I'm doing 3 of those things. But let's start with one. Start with one. It might be today I'm going to get up and go for a little walk, or I'm going to go for a run, I'm going to build a fitness routine, or I'm going to go 2-footed in all at gym. Whatever that may be. So we do a little segment now where it's just 3 questions, you go, I go, and then we're going to jump in them ice baths behind us, although we told you maybe don't do that in the morning anymore, but we're going to do that. So the first question I've got for you, and it's on the spot, we just come up with one on his head, is you're an actor, and I imagine you've played some tough characters, but what's the hardest character you've played in real life?
Ooh, gosh, that's a good question. Well done. Hardest character that I've had to play in real life. You've done well. You've done well there. Probably that of a husband, I think. Yeah, I wasn't ready for that. I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the necessary things in place. I wasn't taking care of myself. The man that I am now would be a great husband, but playing that part in that period in my life, I failed, I'd say. No question. All right. So you've achieved loads with Andy's Man Club, and it's going from strength to strength all over the country. There's so much press around it. So many men are being helped. But on a personal level, what's your ambition for this year?
So I have a couple of companies. Firstly, in fact, I'll tell you my 2 goals for this year, and they're both mad actually. I didn't think I'd ever get this in podcast. One is to be a better partner, right? And I do a lot of things that people admire, and I don't mean that in a big-headed way. Andy's Man Club, I've got a good business, we help a lot of people. And as the byproduct of being so busy sometimes, because I also have 3 kids that I am very invested in taking away. My partner is someone who loves acts of service, not gifts, not even time together. She just likes me to prioritise helping her out, and I don't do that enough. So this year, that is something that I really want to focus on. I'm still not getting it right yet, 14 days into the year, but it's something I really want because she means a lot to me, and that's something big. Another one is to be a better leader. And now, my people in my organisation may say that Ollie, who's just behind the camera, sent me a lovely message before Christmas. People seem to enjoy working within my organisations. But for me, I just think being a leader isn't just what people think of being a boss. It's been a bit of visionary for my organisations. It's been holding myself more to account, my standards to account, so that other people follow them. But leader isn't just work. Leader is me as a friend, how I lead my friends. It's how I look after my body. It's mainly for me how I am as a parent, because my kids are already starting to emulate some good traits, maybe some negative traits at times, but I want to be the best leader I can possible for them and for the people that's in my care, because ultimately the biggest lesson I've learned is you can lead through others. So they're my 2 biggest goals of this year that are in my journal.
Love that, man.
So we said earlier that you don't find peace, but when do you feel like you're most peaceful? When do you feel at peace? Because meditation, you said, can often be hard at times to concentrate. But other than just the gym, when do you feel like, you know what, life's good? In fact, take the peace out. When is your life is good moment?
When I'm acting. When I'm acting. If I'm working with an actor who is open and is listening and reacting and wants to have a really interesting scene partner, someone who can affect me with what they're saying and I can affect them with what they're saying, and we just have this lovely dance and this symbiotic relationship, that is the most joyous feeling as an actor. Because not all actors are like that. It's like, you know, it's like being a rugby player. Some rugby players, you throw the ball to, and they might not catch it properly, or they might, you know, not do what they should be doing, or whatever.
Describe to me then.
I didn't want to say that, but you know, you might meet a shit rugby player. But yeah, not a bad career for a shit rugby player. But then sometimes you'll meet a player and you'll throw the ball and they'll throw it straight back right to you, and you think, okay, I've got a player here. That's someone that I can work with. When you're on set and you're working with somebody like that who throws the ball back to you, joyous, peaceful. Yeah. Question for you. I haven't got anything. I haven't got anything. I was fascinated by what you said about being a leader. I thought that was such a gorgeous answer. Any holidays booked this year?
Nice. I've got to Tenerife in March.
Isn't Tenerife just the best holiday location? It's like 3 hours away. It's fairly cheap. The hotels are great, and it's perfect.
Perfect. It's a bit of a different holiday. I'm going to cycle Mount Teedy with my dad. It was 60th last year.
It's not a holiday, Lou.
It is for me.
It's not.
I told my dad last year.
What's wrong with you?
I love it. I love that stuff. I told my dad for his 60th, we'll go and we'll do Mount Teedy. I've done it a couple of years ago. So in March, end of March, me and him, we're going out to Mount Teedy. It's 60 kilometres uphill. We touch the top, we turn around, we roll all the way back down. So that's still in for me.
That route down is going to be the most fun.
Unbelievable. Third and final question before me and you maybe dip in the mouse paths. Might not let you see that today though. Is, how have you found today?
Honestly, I've absolutely loved it. I love your company, and I'm so glad that you came into my life. Genuinely. Our episode of my podcast, which is Male Mind Matters, if anyone hasn't subscribed and listened to it, I had the most fascinating conversation with you, because all I knew was the work that you'd done with Andy's Man Club. I didn't know anything about you. So to learn about you and your background and your history and the work that you were doing and your ambitions and your goals, honestly, you've brought something really wonderful to my life, so thank you, and I've loved today, mate, I really have.
Well, that's us wrapped up for episode 6. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. James, thank you so much for coming. Become a good friend. We're connected on many different levels now. You've come to my world of sauna. And guys, tune in, like and subscribe to my channel.